Well, hello everybody. How are we doing today? Well, I hope. Anyway, I thought, well, that seems to be plenty full. We don't need to do more of that. I wanted to share with you something that I purchased that I don't know if it's rare, but I'm kind of excited about it, and I thought I would share with you, and you can kind of, if you're interested, you can do some more digging, and you know, history is a fascinating thing, but I recently acquired this. This is a souvenir from Disneyland of old, spared no expense. This actually dates back all the way, this is probably 55 to 58, the Upjohn Pharmacy, which many of you may not know, is it actually existed in Disneyland on Main Street up until 1970. But I'm getting ahead of myself. I know all this is terribly, terribly small. I have the original box that it came in. This is a glass little jar. And then it kind of, I don't want to say instruction manual, but I don't know what you want to call it. But here, take a look at this. I took close-ups of this stuff. So here, take a look. All right, so there you go. Kind of cool. Anyway, Walt Disney, when he was building Disneyland, was always looking for sponsors to help pay for stuff. Because it had never been done before, it's a huge risk, et cetera, et cetera. So, Disney spends a lot of time in Palm Springs. There's a resort out there called Smoke Tree Ranch, which, for those of you who don't know, if you ever see him, he wears that string tie a lot of times, and there's a little logo, I don't know, right here. Well, that's the Smoke Tree Ranch logo. Well, he meets this cat at some point, I don't know, I'm going to say, 53, 54, who knows, 55 even. This cat named Donald Gilmore, who's the managing director of Upjohn Pharmacy, which was, really, Upjohn Pharmacy was established, I think in like 1886. And it existed all the way until 1995 before it was eventually bought by a conglomerate called, I think it's Pharmacia, blah, 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 blah. But they still sort of exist today. They just got absorbed. But 1886, so they've been around a minute. Anyway, Walt and Don become fast friends. And as I said, Disney's looking for sponsors. So Don agrees to sort of participate. It sounds interesting. So on Main Street, where for those of you that know, in Disneyland on Main Street, today it's the Carnation Cafe, which if you're walking towards the castle is on the left-hand side at the gives you some perspective. So anyway, Don and Walt agree. They decide that the pharmacy itself from the inside needs to represent that 1800s sort of feel. So Mr. Gilmore sort of fills it with some pharmaceutical antiquities. And when the park opens, the idea being, it's less about what they would do is Upjohn Pharmacy would hand out sort of free postcards. I don't know how many, but they would also hand guests this little box that contained this jar that had essentially some multivitamins and saying, hey, take your vitamins every day. You're going to grow up big and strong, etc., 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 etc. This lasts, as I said, from like 1955 to about 1970. Now, I don't know if they handed out multivitamins that whole time. I'm pretty sure at some point that fad sort of faded. And rest assured, it was not an actual pharmacy. You couldn't go in and fill a prescription, but they actually had two pharmacists there dressed in period costumes that I think would help folks answer questions. And it brings up kind of an interesting thing, something I yammered about before, like Tomorrowland / Sorrowland. It sort of represented something. Again, Tomorrowland needs to do sort of that same thing. Get Tesla with the AI and try to educate people. I believe the pharmacy was set up for that sort of very thing. But rest assured, it was not a real pharmacy. They just handed out some multivitamins, what's that? Vitamin C and vitamin D. I don't believe they were chewables, but I don't know. But anyway, like I said, Upjohn had the pharmacy until about 1970, and Carnation Cafe took over at that point, and it has been a soda jerk ever since. But I think this is somewhat rare. I don't know for certain, but I think they're kind of hard to come by. I think a lot of folks threw that stuff away, and I wanted to share it with you because I really think it's very, very interesting. I don't know. Anyway, I have this, and it sort of shows what I think Walt Disney was trying to accomplish beyond entertainment, also informative, is sort of how I take it. And I get a big kick out of it. This is in pretty good shape. I've actually seen some that still have the vitamins in it. I wouldn't recommend taking them. I imagine they don't do a whole lot, but no, I'm sure at some point the glass became plastic, and I'm sure at some point from a legal standpoint it became impossible to just hand out vitamins to people. But I'm fascinated that it existed. I never got to see it, obviously. In 1970 it went away. That was the year I arrived, so I've only known it as the Carnation Cafe. But anyway, hopefully you got a kick out of this. A short video. Probably not terribly interesting, but it was really interesting to me. It goes right next to my little radiometer, that spinny thing that I talked about a couple weeks ago, as a souvenir of the past, which fascinates me more than some of the crap you can buy today. There was actually Tomorrowland, there's a rocket that they used to sell. It's painted today, but it was like a TWA rocket in Tomorrowland. I found a couple. Christ, they wanted a lot of money. I mean, my marron. I mean, it's a lot of dough. More money than I'm willing to spend at the moment anyway. But I digress. Anyway, in this world, hopefully you see this. Do your own investigation. It's fascinating to me that Upjohn Pharmacy existed at Disneyland, and that they arguably still exist today. 70-something years later, though they're part of Pharmacia, a big conglomerate. Shocker, but. Anyway, I've babbled on enough. In this world, when you can be anything you want, you be kind, you be humble, you be forgiving. Yes, I'm wearing a Woody Pixar shirt. What are you going to do? Again, be kind, be humble, be forgiving. Thank you again so much for watching. We're actually getting close to 600 subscribers, which just blows my mind. We've got a couple of adventures coming up here, but anyway, I just wanted to share this. I thought it was neat. Hopefully you do too. Have a great night. I'll talk to you later. Bye.